And so we will begin with a moment of self-evaluation. Because there are a number of people who are joining us for the first time, I will take a minute to explain what you're looking at. At any given time, our level of stress and alertness changes. And there is a normal range of fluctuation in which we are able to function, whether we be a bit more alert or less. And that is the middle section on this chart, the window of tolerance. If we experience an increase in the stress response that results in a state of arousal, such as increased heart rate or increased sweating, then we go into the orange zone. And if our stress response encourages us to avoid or separate or step away, that is moving into the green zone on this chart. And we can still function in the orange and green zones. We just might be feeling more of the impact of stress. When the impacts grow greater, then we either move into the red hyperarousal zone where we feel very overwhelmed and agitated, or we move into the blue zone where we feel shut down and numb and dissociated. And exactly where we are can change moment to moment. If we find ourselves moving away from the middle, then it is helpful to rebalance ourselves to re-enter our zone of tolerance. And as we talk about the human stress response throughout the next few weeks, we will talk about some ways of doing this. But for today, for right now, we simply ask you to make note of where you are on this scale at this time. You can pick whatever number feels right. If you want to share it in the chat, you can, but you do not need to. And we will share this picture regularly with you, so you will become very familiar with it. So just notice throughout our time together whether the number you choose changes. So we are about to start our first module. Notice whatever number you identified and take a minute and think about why you chose that number. The more we understand about our stress response, the more that we can help others with theirs. And so this is our topic for this summer module. We seek to understand the human stress response using an ecological systems framework. Now, the phrase ecological systems framework has two meanings. In psychology, an ecological systems is understanding a person within their full context. We're curious about how a range of factors impact a person's experience in this moment. For example, how has your sleep, your diet, and your family connections influenced your ability to function today? The second meaning of the ecological systems framework is metaphoric. As I've mentioned, every training we've done has resulted in some nature-based art activity. I see that they're, oh, okay. In the totality of our trainings, we have begun referring to these activities as a group as the ecosystem of healing. And this is an extension of a model that we will share with you in detail during this training. The Harvard University program in refugee trauma uses what they call a healing environment model. And so those concepts are central to those that we will share with you. And lastly, as this picture shows, nature is inspiring because somehow nature always finds a way. So we really will have two objectives that will guide us. In the first objective, we will introduce a dual focus of understanding acute and chronic trauma responses. And then we will also define and explain the healing environment concept in depth. But just because that is a brand new idea, probably to many of you, we're going to share a brief definition now. Is it helpful, Natalia, for me to say it in English, or do you want to just
Yes,
say it in your brain?
please. Yes.
Okay. So the healing environment is a term used to describe the physical and cultural atmosphere created to support families through hospitalization, medical visits, healing, and bereavement. Guiding the healing environment is a philosophy of caring, the desire to develop a space that engenders feelings of peace, hope, upliftment, joy, reflection, and solace, as well as opportunities for relaxation, enrichment, spiritual connection, humor, and play. So today, our goals for this hour are simply to introduce the purpose and context for our training series. And we'll review and discuss one or two more points before we wrap up. And today will be the foundation for the next few weeks of our time together. Today, we want to just create a shared definition of stress. And we also want to make sure that it is understood that not all stress is a negative thing. In fact, the basic definition of stress is simply work. Now, when specific events occur that are particularly stressful, that knock you out of your window of tolerance, we refer to those as acute stressors. And acute stress may knock you out of your window of tolerance, but then you will return to it once the stress has passed. Chronic stress, in comparison, is repeatedly or consistently destabilizing. And our stress response is how we physiologically and psychologically respond to those experiences. So the stress response is always a reaction. Managing our stress response can also be reactive, but we can proactively manage stress as well. If a door suddenly slams and frightens you, you may take a minute and catch your breath. And by doing things like noting where you are in relation to your window of tolerance, you may proactively be supporting your body to respond to future stresses. Like I said, not all stress is a negative thing. Just by opening your eyes and getting out of bed and walking across the bedroom, you are engaging in work. You are engaging in stress. And we have all experienced times of boredom when we have had too little stimulation, too little stress. We do not seek to eliminate stress entirely. Instead, we seek to find a balance of stress that allows us to perform at our most optimal. And this good kind of stress is called eustress. As we increase the stress, we perform more effectively to a point. But if the stress continues to rise, then eventually our performance starts to decrease. And that is what we call distress. And that is what we seek to decrease. But truly good stress and bad stress physiologically are not. It is just a different level of the same thing, which maybe you've already thought about is very similar to the window of tolerance. So as we get close to the end of our time today, we encourage you to again take note of where you are in your stress level in relation to your window of tolerance. And in our next meeting, we will focus more specifically on the phenomenon of acute stress.